Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. I talk to people in city government, the school system, and various companies and businesses in the Wadsworth community. Tom Morris is with us, the Director of Economic Development.
That's the title.
And thank you very much for being here. And you haven't been in this position very long.
I haven't. Thanks for having me, Bruce. I appreciate it. First of the year is when I started. I ended my position as the Law Director for the City of Wadsworth, and I moved into the Director of Economic Development.
Being a Wadsworth resident and longtime resident,
Sure.
and going to the schools here, do you have a different view of what's happening through all the different avenues in development in Wadsworth?
Sure. I wasn't born in Wadsworth, Rittman, so I can't say I'm a full-time. I came here when I was 3, so I've only been here 47 years. What I tell people is there's the economic directors in some communities, they don't live where they work, and they do that for a very specific reason. They wanted to have a break to get away. I didn't do that. I decided to live here, and I've always lived here in the city because I want your pain to be my pain, right? When people say, hey, look, you don't know what it looks like at night downtown. Sure I do. How do I do it? Because I've been here. I've been here for long enough to have seen businesses come and go, what works, what doesn't work, and if there's a particular pothole or there's a particular traffic light that doesn't work, I know because I have to deal with it as well. So I think it's a good idea for having public officials and to have somebody in my position live in the town, make your pain my pain.
Some skills you acquired from the law director's position that you can utilize for your current spot?
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why I got the job. When I was, I've been a trial lawyer my entire life, my entire career, and I thought as soon as my term was ending as the law director, I would go be a trial lawyer somewhere else, either at the county level prosecuting cases or different county, or perhaps even move on to a different area. As my tenure kind of ended, Mayor Lawbaugh came to me and said, hey, look, we want your skills. We think they really add value to the city. So we started talking about the economic development job, and it started to make sense. What I did as the law director was prepare the documents necessary so that the economic director could put forward the programs that he was putting forward. So I'd work on the CRAs, I would work on the job creation grants. So it's not a big jump to go from preparing the documents to administering the programs, understanding it, and allows you to get creative. Once you know what the limits of the law are, you know what box you're in for economic development. So the more we thought about it, the more it made sense, and that's why I got to stay home. I didn't have to leave the town that I grew up in.
Your predecessor, Matt Springer, did you have some commentary to him, and did he give you any tips of the trade?
Sure. Matt and I worked together when I was the law director and he was the director of economic development. Got a great relationship, and we'd work together on all these programs. So I wasn't left in the lurch trying to figure out what the next step was. But what he impressed upon me is what you have to do is talk less and listen more. Every one of those companies has a challenge, and those challenges are different. Sometimes those challenges are dealing with these types of programs. Sometimes it's dealing with the EPA. Sometimes it's dealing with different parts of the government. And I have to tailor my response to their actual problems. I can't just say, hey, this is what I can do. No, I should listen to them, see what program, maybe there's a program that needs to happen that isn't in existence, and I got to listen to them and say, hey, this is a program that we need in the Wadsworth in the future.
How does Wadsworth promote itself and try to make those inroads to these companies, factories, development companies, etc.?
There's a lot of different ways of attracting those, and every community in the state of Ohio is seeking those whales. So what we do in Wadsworth is we concentrate on keeping the ones we have here happy. That is priority one. The second way we receive some leads on companies is we're part of different consortiums. One of those consortiums is Medina County Economic Development Group. There's the Northeast Ohio Economic Development Group that we're members of, and those are kind of clearinghouses. So when companies say, hey, look, we are looking to build a chip company These are big in Columbus right now.
Right.
We can, who's got this capacity with this much industrial, with this much electric, and this many workers that can work in these facilities. So you have this much affordable housing, all of those factors, and then everybody can kind of say, hey, that fits with what we're doing, and then go back and try to talk to these companies. So yeah, it's out of state. Plus, we're also a member of AMP Ohio, or AMP Beyond Ohio now, and they have an economic development part too. So our municipal power corporation is doing economic development, and since we're a charter member of that, we get leads from that area as well.
So it sounds like a lot of collaboration. You really might have contacts today with the AMP Ohio or a Medina County group or state group, but you never know what's going to happen. Probably your day is really sometimes helter-skelter, and sometimes you have pretty much inclined to what you're scheduled to do.
Yeah, it is. Every day is a new challenge, and that's what makes it kind of interesting. But the collaboration part is something different than I thought when I took over, right? When I took over, I thought this is going to be a cutthroat business, that I'm going to be fighting with Brunswick and Medina to land these certain companies, and it couldn't be more different than that. There's a belief, and I believe it's true, that as the harbor the tide rolls in, all the ships in the harbor rise. So Medina understands that what's good for Wadsworth is good for Medina and is good for Brunswick. And we grow, the area grows and becomes more desirable for everybody. So there's more collaboration than there is competition. We're helping each other with different programs that we're working on, what works, what doesn't work, and what we can provide and what we can't provide.
We've touched a moment ago on some of the factors that businesses, development companies, and stores might be interested in. Could you elaborate on those a little bit? I think we can broaden that to the schools, transportation. We're in an interstate area for the highways, and I think there's a lot of things that Wadsworth has going for it.
Absolutely. What leads to growth is an interesting question that books are written about, and everybody's trying to capture the magic formula for it to work. What I say, it starts with you have to want to live here if you want to grow here. Businesses want places where their executives or their people that are working here want to live. So, looks at the schools. Hey, we got a good school system that we can go through. That's important. We've always had that. We also have, when you talk to people, a very quaint town, a Mayberry feel, if you will. And if you grow too fast or too much and you lose that feel, then you've just killed why people want to move here in the first place. So it's a very controlled growth, the right kind of growth, so that you maintain why people want to stay here in the first place. So there's a magic formula in there that we're still working out. The
last few censuses, I think that bears out that Wadsworth hasn't grown 6%, but yet it hasn't grown 1%. It's kind of in the 2 to 3%, 2.5% range, which is manageable.
Yeah, it is. Once you have the big rates or the big elevations, you're going to have additional services that need to be provided. That's beyond the scope of where we're scheduling stuff to be. You have to have houses built, and it's challenging. It's not really much of a question that affordable housing in Medina County is difficult. Why? Because everybody wants to move here, right? That's the market. It pushes it up and pushes the prices up. I think I was talking to someone from Habitat for Humanity. They said their latest house in Brunswick, the Habitat house, very modest, was appraised at over $300,000. So now we're talking about what are we doing for housing so that our businesses have workers. So we need starter homes, we need forever homes, we need retirement homes, we need funeral homes, we need everything from birth to death available, and it's got to be that mix. You cannot just have one type or the other, and you can't fight the market. The market's going to decide what it ultimately wants, but you can push a little bit on the margins doing what I do.
I think they're just finishing. Speaking of Habitat, we've done a couple shows with them over the years, and High Crest, it's the road that goes ahead and goes, from the behind the high school.
Yeah, Silvercrest.
Silvercrest, yes. Yeah. And then I think across the street, a gentleman told me yesterday that he sold 2 more lots to Habitat. So there'll be a couple more houses built across the street.
Yeah, Habitat's active. We love having them down here, not just up in Medina County or up in the northern part of Medina County. They put together nice homes. They're not anywhere cutting any corners. So they put nice homes and they fill lots that would otherwise be vacant. That's, you know, when we're looking at what do we do as a city, the more blight you have, it doesn't just hurt that particular spot. It hurts the neighborhood and brings up property values for everybody. So if we can get those certain houses that are haven't been taken care of, get those either raised or fixed up, then everybody would benefit from the property values.
Went down Reimer Road the other day and can't believe the expansion of Redwood. Could you comment about that? People, the interest rates are high now. People just don't have and can't make those payments, or they haven't saved that down payment. Those are nice establishments.
Yeah, and they're building. They're throwing them up pretty quick. They're all over the state, I believe, but they have been building out there. So, and I believe they're already almost full for people that are specking on renting in those places. So, yeah, we're full on renting right now. The capacity is kind of full, so there's been a push towards getting more of that rental income or those rental units out there. So yeah, it's part of the equation that has to be looked at.
Is land available in Wadsworth?
Land's always available in Wadsworth, right? You can either build out or you can build up, right? So what there are plots available for commercial on the east side. There's plots available on the north side for commercial. There's residential, some farms there. And there's the township right on the outside that some of those units want to come into the city so that they can take advantage of our sewers, our water, and our other utilities.
Yeah, we do provide services. Even did a show with the new fire station and mutual aid. If Sharon or Seville is on another run, we could go out there and take care of that situation. And
I think Wadsworth, we directly have a contract with the Wadsworth Township. We're the ones who provided it anyway. So 911 also in certain areas comes to us here in Wadsworth. So we've had a long relationship with Wadsworth Township, a good relationship with Wadsworth Township. Annexations are part of doing business. People want to come, leave that, and come back into the city or come into the city. So there's a little bit of, obviously tension because they're not making land anymore, Bruce. So, so we have to work with it, but we try to work with them as best we can.
A moment ago, you talked about businesses currently expanding, and it's really a core idea for the city to keep our businesses happy. Could you mention a couple of the expansions of businesses in town? Sure.
We have one of the things we do is a community reinvestment agreement. So those companies that are looking to expand or do a capital expansion, we have some programs available for tax benefit purposes. I think we have 9 businesses that are currently on there. They've invested over $50 million of capital expansion, whether it be Clamco, Excel, J&O Plastics. These businesses are all expanding. And we did a tour of them just recently. And they said, doggone it, we're almost full. We are filled up our latest expansion, and we're looking to expand again. So that's $50 million worth of that has a property tax associated to it. That's payroll that's coming in. I think there's 350 new jobs with $21 million worth of payroll that we receive a benefit for. So keeping them, letting them do what they do best and not having to think about the other stuff really benefits everybody here.
Did the city have anything to do with the new expansion to the 5th and 6th grade building on Broad Street the school district is currently getting ready to construct?
No, that's the school. We certainly are. We could be involved if they needed land, somehow doing, the attachment of blighted property, what have you. But they already owned that land. They know what they're doing. They've been building schools here for a while. They're better than most at that. So we didn't have to do too much for them on that aspect. Now the fire station, obviously I did a lot of work on that from the legal side as the law director. So we had to buy those 3 buildings, those 3 houses that were ultimately torn down, and remediate and all that stuff. So yeah.
Chief Linder said on our show we did, he said they looked at all sorts of properties. He said, and one by one they were eliminated, and I think everyone should be really happy with the site they have now.
Yeah, everybody's a little scared when you put a fire station in the middle of everything, but yeah, it turned out wonderful. And I remember barnstorming with them throughout every piece of parcel that they had, trying to find a good place that was within their zone that wasn't covered by fire station number 2. So yeah, I think it's a really nice facility.
What about, you have some, you said inroads with county organizations, Santee Landing.
Sure.
That is, I think, 54 units, and it really is situated well on that street. And did the city have some inroads with that?
That was a county project, so
Right.
we dealt with the county a little bit on that. Obviously, that was before my time, but you know that program is through Medina County, and they have, I think, a 255 person wait list to try to get in there. Yeah. So it is super popular, it's super wanted and super needed. So yeah, we're happy to put that in our portfolio that we can show people, because the number one complaint we get from those businesses, those nice businesses we have, is, you know, our workers don't have any place to live. They got to come in from Barberton, they got to come in from other places, and we'd love to have them be closer to home.
No question about it. It really is advantageous if someone calls off sick to them to get there, or there's a blizzard or whatever. There's all sorts of things that come up, and businesses still have to keep their doors open.
They do.
What about the parks? Why don't we talk a little bit about the parks?
Sure.
Really, people enjoy those. I see, you know, they're playing games and getting ready to go, and right around the corner, the weather's going to turn for us, and the parks are very important.
We've got lots of different park expansion. That was really a push through this current administration, this current budget cycle, is to concentrate on those parks and not just touch every one of them. There's new parks that are going in. There's a pocket park, and I don't know if you've talked to anybody about that. That is downtown. The plans are being drawn up right now for a downtown park.
All right, we see some video here. Could that be it?
That is the pocket park. And what that is right up there, the part to the top of that page is, or the bottom of the page is going to be the restaurant, Alexander's, and there's that open space there. It backs up into the parking lot, and it looks like it's a grass space, a concert stage, and some seating. So now we start putting together some of these puzzle pieces, right? So we have a downtown park where people can enjoy, sit there, and then we have a downtown concert series. So now that there can be a band place that they can play music there, so people can congregate and then go listen to music. That parking lot behind it is scheduled to get fixed up. The new bar that on Wachrusa, that blighted building, that's scheduled to be torn down here shortly. Oh. So that now we've got a nice area in the back where we can have more events. And then with the Dora, with the designated outdoor refreshment area covering that, now we can have events that are enjoyable and bring people downtown, which is important.
It used to be they had outdoor concerts at Memorial Park.
They did.
I remember going down there. I don't know if you recall that, but they had a little area there that they performed and had various groups there.
You're talking about the pad right on the lake?
Yes.
Well, that is another part of the parks that we're working on. So we're not just doing the pocket park.
Okay.
Now we're also doing Memorial Park too, and the plans are out there for Memorial Park. I think they're right up there right now. Part of that is a pavilion so that we could actually have seating so we can watch people have concerts there on the lake. There's trails, there's talk of an ice rink, there's adding pickleball. You cannot add enough pickleball in this world. You could fill up the entire city and it won't be enough. So we're adding pickleball down there. Part of the area where Blue Tip is typically every year, that's going to get a facelift. So then there's talk of the disc golf, where that's going to be incorporated in this. So That's also getting changed up, or at least under being investigated and being drawn up in more concept or more concrete plans. There's the Durling Park. The Durling Park is going to have the pickleball, and there's a picture of that.
Right.
Have a pickleballs, have basketball courts, have parking off the street, and have a green space for people to use, new restrooms, and moving the baseball diamond. So what you've noticed is there's 2 parks that don't have baseball diamonds anymore. What are we going to do about baseball diamonds? Brings us to the next big park that we're looking at. There it is. That's the athletic complex concept down at the Brickyard, where we've got all these baseball fields strategically placed so that we can have a number of games going on at the same time. We could have tournaments down there. We could have just a complex that's really going to draw people from all over the state here, which helps economic development, because they got to eat somewhere and they got to sleep somewhere. So
people staying healthy, the walking paths, I'm sure.
There's walking paths
Yeah.
there. The Brickyard is something that we could spend the entire half hour on if you chose to.
Well, why don't we go ahead and schedule maybe to go and visit it on site?
Absolutely.
Coming up when the city has done some things with it.
Bring your camera.
What is going to be done this summer with that?
Well, we're working through the plans right now because we've got to figure out what we want and before we get it designed.
Right.
We have to, it's an incredibly large project. There's going to be divided as current plans into 2 parts. The first part is that athletic complex that you looked at. Then the second part to the north is just this, this beautiful rolling hills with lakes that nobody even knew existed. Well, people knew because they were driving their ATVs back there, getting in trouble. But there's all this back there that could be just a wonderful nature trails, bike trails, running trails, and we got to figure out how we're going to get back there and how we're going to use that too. It's all part of the process. So. And
it's over 200 acres. The whole project is over 200 acres. The city is probably going to do that in chunks.
In phases,
yeah.
That's a big pay. It costs a lot of money to get it all done at once, but we're trying to figure out a way of doing it where it makes sense. We've got grant money that's coming in from the state of Ohio. Our representative Sharon Ray was nice enough to secure us $2 million in funding for that. Got to get through the Senate, but we're crossing our fingers. There's been grant money, or someone left us some money to go towards parks, so we're trying to apply that as well. So this is going to be really a crown jewel in Wadsworth that is really going to be the envy of everybody in Medina County and in our Northeast Ohio.
Right behind, it's located right behind St. Edward's Assisted Living, and then down a little bit further down south of 94, there's a development going to go in there. Is that right?
Yeah, that's Pulte Homes, I believe, that's putting up a development there, and then right at the end of there, it actually backs up to the park property. So, some of those people may have a little sneaking way back in there. So I walked back there yesterday. It was a nice day just to see where it ends up, and it was the juices were flowing as to what could possibly happen.
No question about it. And again, this is something, a jewel that some people, if the homes are available, might want to go ahead and come to Wadsworth and enjoy the parks and reside here, work here.
So St. Ed's is going to have front row to a beautiful park system. These places also are going to have a nice access road to a nice park system. Really going to be value add to the city of Wadsworth.
That's really. Do you alone go ahead and seek these grants and other monies, or do you have a staff that helps you to do that?
It's a collaborative effort. We talked about that with everybody in the city. We've got engineers who are making grants. We've got brownfield grants, and that's just for remediation of potentially toxic areas. All of that money comes in. We have the county helps us on that. So really, it's all hands on deck.
So people should be really excited about the plans, about again, the development of Wadsworth, and again, as you say, it's controlled. Tell us again why that's important.
Because you don't want to sacrifice what makes Wadsworth great in order to try to make it better. That's counterproductive. I look at some communities where they've torn down their downtown. Look at Brunswick. I don't want to cast Spurs, but it doesn't really have that downtown. It doesn't really have what we have, that charm. So we want people to come downtown and enjoy that part. We want people to have choices where you could buy a suit and you can still have all those choices. And we want people to have things to do downtown, reasons to come downtown. We want people to live here. We want people to work here. That's the trick. That's the secret sauce.
Yeah, the View is just hit in recently, and we have an Italian restaurant, I gather, going in.
Yeah.
Do you know a little bit about that?
I do. It's part of our restaurant expansion program that we've had. What we think has helped maybe get them over the finish line for some of that. Look, my pain is your pain, Bruce. So I've been here long enough to remember there's never been a place to eat downtown other than Alexander's.
Right.
For at night, this place turned into a little bit of a ghost town. That's a opportunity to change with some of these nice restaurants coming in, and our grant programs I think helped get them where they needed to be. So now and the Niner just opened up. That's another thing that's downtown. So those are all exciting processes.
Well, you need to shop to Our World. You can get some some spices. You can get some things there, and uniquely homemade for you.
And perhaps you want to do it with a drink in your hand. That's what the Dora is.
Okay.
Designated outdoor refreshment area is the new thing that we're trying to put out there so everybody has their say. But the thought on that is if you are at one of these restaurants that are participating, you can get a to-go cup. And then if we have the Taste of Wadsworth, you could go get a to-go cup, which benefits the restaurant, and you can go out and have a beverage while you try at local restaurants at Taste of Wadsworth or at the Pocket Park when you're watching a concert or shopping
First Fridays,
or when you're shopping at some of the tea store or some of these places that are down there. So that it all comes together and all starts making sense, and it kind of all works together. So that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Tom, I learned a great deal today, and we'll have to come back and do another show. I'm really interested in the Brickyard.
Sure.
We'll have to, when you let me know, we'll do another show, a spin-off show to that, and let people know front row seat on that wonderful project. 200 acres plus.
It really is nice.
Unbelievable. And thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose, and we will have the choir director coming in. Caitlin Davis will be with us in a couple weeks. Thanks for viewing.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.